Hi, this is Scotty with Scotty of All Trades, and this is video 2 of our Babywise series. We're going to talk about number 1, how to feed your baby, how often, what's it going to look like, and the process that Babywise recommends to get that schedule going. Now, if you're like us, you've got lots of books that say, hey, try this, don't do that. All those are good tools. You know what? To have as many things to reach into your bag of tricks as possible is going to be your best bet. Now, the first thing you want to have in mind when you get to the hospital, before you get to the hospital, is a feeding schedule. Let your nurses know as soon as possible, so that way they can help you get on that schedule. Now, most hospitals will have a recommended feeding. They're going to give you a paper diagram. Someone's going to talk to you and say, all right, you're going to need to feed, change, and do stuff to your baby. So when you're on the same page with the hospital, it's going to make it easier for you. Now, Babywise suggests that you feed your little tyke every 3 hours. So this is the schedule that my wife and I came up with, and also my cameraman, he came up with this schedule. They're both very similar, but you have to look at your schedule, your time constraints, and figure out who's going to get up when and who's going to be able to get up when and how, and fine-tune that first one to the best schedule for you guys. Now, it's really important that you stick to the schedule. Now, it might be at that 3-hour point and they're still sleeping and you're like, oh my goodness, this is great, thank you, they're sleeping. I want to let them sleep because a happy baby needs to sleep. Yeah, that's true, but it's even better and more true to let them wake up, let them feed, do the wait time, because they're going to go right back down to sleep. What you're doing is setting up healthy schedules of feeding, because if not, you're going to get your timing all off and then they're going to sleep longer. And if you don't do this, they're going to sleep longer, you're going to feed, then your 3 hours comes off, and then they're going to have a full belly and it's only going to be an hour to the next feeding, and then you're going to have this chaos in the midst of this schedule, and your baby's going to not really know what's going on. So it's important to make sure that you do the feeding, the wake time, then the sleep. So when you wake them up, feed them, let them be awake for 15 to 20 minutes. And sometimes you're going to have to fight that. You know, sometimes they're falling asleep, so you know what? Unzip their little sleep sack, get them cold. You know what? Pull off their little socks. You know what? Blow on their feet. You know, some of those tricks are going to kind of, stimulate them to get them to keep feeding. I like to rub my little daughter's back of her leg on her knee. That kind of keeps her, you know, there's some touch going on there. Oh, I need to keep eating. Pick them up, burp them, whatever it takes to keep them awake, and then get that full feeding, hopefully. But it's really important to stick to that schedule, whether or not they've slept 10 minutes or 3 hours. It's going to pay off in the long run, because we're trying to get to the goal of sleeping through the night. This is the exception to the sleep, feed, wake time rule, is at night you don't do the wake time. You're trying to train them to sleep through the night, and so it's probably even best to not really make a lot of noise, not coo them, not say hello, not sing the song, not anything that's going to cause them stimulation. And don't worry if your child is not taking a full feeding, they're going to feed again in 3 hours and they're going to be completely fine. Now when it comes to feeding, you're going to want to know how much. We already told you how often, so how much is the key next. In the hospital, you're going to get a chart. Doctors and nurses are going to tell you how much your child should be getting. When you do your first week checkup, the pediatrician or your doctor is going to tell you how much you should be eating, and you can calculate that. But basically, you know what? We're shooting for that set amount at each feeding, and we try to keep her awake until we get it all in. Right now, at 10 weeks into it, 3 ounces is pretty much where we're shooting for. And talk to your doctor, and then you can find a good resource at this website right here. Well, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, especially if you've got any experience in doing this, what worked for you, what didn't, how your process went, I'm sure others would love to read that, and we would love to hear your input as well. And then stay tuned for the next video. We're going to talk about how to drop a feeding, which is so important if you want to actually sleep through the whole entire night.